Alright, so here are all the parts I've already put on clips, and I'm getting ready to prime. So I just want to give you, show you what I'm doing right now. Cleaning up, as I said before, some of the parts that are like, well, clearly on white parts it's very difficult to see the nub marks. So you got to go back and look at the manual and where where the nub marks begin and end on the part. So you got to go back to that. You got to resand them down using using these type of sanding sticks, 400 grit to sand it down, and then an 800 grit to smooth it out. Double checking to make sure nothing got damaged or anything like that, and did that on pretty much all the parts. Some parts, of course, I was going to do reversible tape, but just a waste of a tape. It's, I have tape, I just don't want to use it. I'm going to use I use the sticky tack to hold some parts like these, which is very easy to do, very easy. And also, I do a double check, a triple check to see if I miss anything. Because sometimes that tends to happen. I clean up the whole thing and I go, damn, where the hell did that nub mark come from? Or why was that scratch? Now I gotta resand it down, repaint it again. That happens. That happens to the best of us, to the worst of us, to everybody. But I just wanted to show you this, and I wanted to show you something that spawned the idea. Back in my previous video, a few days ago, someone sent me a message, and at first I wasn't paying attention to it, but when this person by the name of, and I'll give him a shout out, his name is Mulambo, said, why don't you combine that arm cannon with the shield, like the full armor Gundam shield cannon thing? When I said that, when he wrote that down and I looked at it, I go, that's interesting. So I began looking at the cannon and looking at the shield, and I said to myself, you know what? This could work. This could possibly work. So I posted photographs on Twitter. For those of you who follow me on Twitter, they'll go to my Twitter page and you'll see. And here is the result of the cannon attached to the shield. Now, as you can see here, the little nubs there that held up the beam sabers, I cut them off. Actually, cut a little bit off, just a little bit, and then I made some holes there so I can slide it in and align it properly. And then I glued it on, and then I made a jig type setup to hold up the grip for the arm using plow plate that I got from Millennium Hobbies when they did their scratch building class, you could say. And I put some detail there, detail here, and it's right now still gluing, but eventually I'm going to clean it up a bit with the sanding stick, smooth out the edges, and then it'll be the beam, the double barrel beam rifle that we all see in the heavy armor version of the Gundam. Whether it's, I think, obviously from Thunderbolts, from UC-79, but yeah, this came out pretty good. It stays on pretty well. I made some spacings there for it to hold. The only thing I know is that when I put the arm in, I'm going to have to put the arm first, then the hand, and then clamp it together. Because this is not something you can flip over. And I should have thought of a rig to do that. But yeah, this came out really nice. So this is done. Didn't do more detail around the body of the kit. Oh yeah, I did do something back here. Now I was sanding this down and I was preparing to glue it off, but then I said to myself, this could be a seam line. So what I did was, using the hobby knife, I was cleaning the edges there and give it a wedge so it looks like a seam line. So that came out okay. Alright, let's prime, see how it looks. Okay, so as you can see here, I've finished priming all the parts that you can see using my one-shot primer, and learned a kind of almost bitter lesson with this. I remember doing this and came out pretty well, but I forgot to increase the PSIs. I was using 15, maybe 12 PSIs on this, and it started to clog up on my airbrush. It's designed to come out really fast, so some parts got a little bleh. I took care of it, of course, but that's something that I definitely, I have to remind myself that whenever I use the products from One Shot, from MIG, the One Shot primer, a little higher in PSIs. And this primer, you don't need to use any thinner to thin it down. It's already good out of the bottle. And of course, when you use it, you get a nice, smooth, shiny finish on it, which covers up all the damages that usually is caused by sanding and scraping and all that stuff. But yeah, this came out okay. Just to give you a glance at what it looks like. So this is obviously I'm using black primer, and now I am ready to go to the next color, which will be the white. I haven't prepared it yet. I will in a moment. I just wanted to give you guys a brief glimpse of how it looks like right now. I'm also, on a side note, not digging how my whole thing is set up, because to my corner of my table, I have my drawers there where I have all my parts and tools and stuff like that. But it's also preventing me to bring the spray booth a little bit farther back, closer to the wall, and I'm like, everything's all truncated here, so I'm gonna have to look into the possibility of moving that over to the other side of the table, so that way I have more of a space, more room to maneuver and whatnot. It also makes it difficult for me to position my camera. I don't want to put my camera here on my right hand side, because that's where I have the holder to hold up my airbrush, and I haven't used the new one yet. Here's the new one, so I'm getting ready for that. So give me a moment while I prep, and we'll test out this new airbrush on this kit. Okay, so now we will begin with Dead White by Vallejo. I'm going to try this side here to make sure it comes out okay. Cool. And we're going to slowly just build it up here. I have this, I believe, 20 PSIs. Maybe that's a little too much. Let me clock it down a bit. Should be fine. Whoops, too much. I don't care about the mess, because if it's going to be repainted over, give it a overall color, overall coverage of the color, so that way it shows the darker portions under it. But I'm not fond of paint in a specific way, because this thing is like very, very thick. I had to thin it down with a very little bit of thinner. And unfortunately, I did not have any acrylic thinner. I know I could use water. I used a drop of what do you call it? Lacquer-based thinner by Tamiya. see, this is what happens. There we go. It's good. I mean, the airbrush, first thing, the airbrush is okay. I kind of like it. I just got to get used to this paint, and I don't have thinner for this product. I mean, I did agitate it a bit, but I guess maybe it needed a bit more agitating, you could say. Alright, so let's do the leg here. That's good. Preshading on this little area. That is easy. There we go. Let's do this little head here. I think I also got to get the mouth guard. Where is that mouth guard? Oh, here it is. Alright, so let me continue on with the remaining parts. I'll let it dry, and I'll give it the second pass in a moment.